Goodness to you. This is Sporty King, and I say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? Welcome to Gift Friday. I named it Gift Friday because so often we hear people say TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. But I say, what allure does Friday have to the person that took their last breath on Thursday or any day before that for that matter? So I use what I've learned through Psalm 92 and 2. And that is, it is good to proclaim your unfailing love in the morning, your faithfulness in the evening. Therefore, instead of TGIF, I use TGIT. Not thank God it's Thursday, but TGIT, thank God it's today. And then TGIT, thank God it's tonight. Because to wake up, go through a whole day, get a chance to go to sleep and do it again, thank God it's today. And that allowed me to add another scriptural lesson. That is Matthew 30 is I believe it's what is it? Matthew 34 and 30, 34 and 2. And that is, so don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Thank God it's tonight. Today's trouble, Matthew 6 and 34. Today's trouble is enough for today. Thank God it's today. You see, darkness always precedes the light, but light always shines bright. Ooh, I just made that up. Anyway, all right. Okay, so that still leads us to looking at another use for another way of looking at TGIF, and that is trusting God is free. Trusting God is free. Think about it. What does it cost you to receive the greatest gift of every day? The gift of waking up. It doesn't cost you a dime. So if we look at TGIF and we move the T from the front to the end, we get GIFT. And what we should be thanking God for every day, and that is the gift of another day. And then GIFT stands for God is for today. So, therefore, Gift Friday is the online sharing of one of my poetic messages that you can use in conversation to inspire someone else, or you can use it to inspire yourself. A lot of times when we uplift someone else, we end up uplifting ourselves because the energy that we have to use to bring to them is sometimes energy, just like I said a little while ago, oh, I just made that up. That's what happens sometimes when you go to energize somebody else and lift them up. You get lifted up with words and feelings that you had not experienced before. And what that is partially the grace and reward that you get for being willing to be a conscious messenger of God's word. I love it. Anyway, this is the online sharing of my poetic messages. Then what I'll do is after I deliver the message, you have the option, if you like a copy of the poem, if it's an original poem, because I don't always deliver original poems, but whatever the message, if you like a copy, I'll give you instructions on how to send for a free downloaded PDF copy. And today's message is going to be from my book, I Found Out I'm Living, an affirmation of life. This book is the sequel to my first book, I Found Out I'm Dying, a celebration of life. And as you can see with both books' title, there's a message within the message, and that is we sometimes get caught up in the headlines and forget to read the subtitles in life. For instance, the first book, I Found Out I'm Dying, is not about dying at all. The subtitle is a celebration of life. It's about living. It's about recognizing that physically one day you won't be here. So are you celebrating your life now so that you can be sure that you have what it takes? And then I Found That I'm Living is an affirmation of life. And that's showing you that once you let go of the physical self, the spiritual self becomes that much stronger, and it gives you even more reasons to go forward. Okay. So today, what I want to do is I want you to think about the saying that says, oh, how things change, yet remain the same. See, as I wrote this poem that I'm going to use today, I wrote it in 1998. And I see it ringing through social and broadcast media every day here in 2023. It's called Cloudy Daze. And I invite you to hear how it also calls for us to shift our perspective by creatively opening up our imagination to see things differently. Here's Cloudy Days. Today, I watched the majesty of the clouds move as they rested in pantomime against the blue ceiling. At least I thought it was blue. See, blue is what I saw. And in life, sometimes all we see are colors instead of how well they work together. How brown will stand still for green to grow. Green invites yellow, even burnt orange or red. Then red returns the favor by pulling out all the stops to go through with yellow and become one with green. But I know what you're thinking. What about gray? Because sometimes it's the master of our day. Well, not really, but we just let it feel that way. When we when we lose focus and allow the condescending haze of doubt to conjure up colorless shades of ignorance, that flash around us. I'm sorry, I'm gonna start that stands over. When we lose focus and allow the condescending haze of doubt to conjure up colorless shades of ignorance that flash around us and rape our imagination of its luster, that's when we let gray feel that way. Without a doubt, gray does this by choice. Yet it also invites us to recognize it as the midpoint between two extremes, black and white. It reminds us that there can be a perfect blend of sharing if we're willing to keep the scale from losing its balance. Today, I watched the majesty of the clouds move, and they rested in pantomime against the blue ceiling. And I was reminded that in life, sometimes all we see are colors instead of how well they work together. Cloudy days. What I want you to do is recognize that this poem reminds you to shift your perspective by creatively opening up your imagination to see things differently. You've heard me say, control your vocabulary. Don't allow your vocabulary to control you. But let's immediately look at the title and see that when we hear cloudy days, we could also hear cloudy days. And imagine that over time, we can lose focus based on who our messenger is. Here's Google's definition of daze, D-A-Z-E. As a verb, it's make someone unable to think or react properly. Stupidity, bewilder. In a sentence, she was dazed by his revelations. As a noun, daze, D-A-Z-E, is a state of stunned confusion or bewilderment. In a sentence, he was walking around in a daze. To use it in a full sentence, putting them together, he was walking around in a daze. And she was dazed by his revelations. Or if you prefer, she was dazed by his revelations. Yet he was walking around in a daze. Neither way resolves the challenge we face when we choose to keep a closed mind about our situation and discussion about racial tension and social injustice. It's a people problem that will touch each of us in more ways than it already has. With its next touch, you get to share its next touch. How will you do it? Are you willing to recite that closing stanza? And can you live it? Here it is. Today, I watched the majesty of the clouds move as they rested in pantomime against the blue ceiling. And I was reminded that in life, sometimes all we see are colors instead of how well they work together. Cloudy days. If you like a copy of the poem and you're on YouTube or Facebook, on LinkedIn or Facebook, just send me that request at sporty@sportyking.com. If you're on YouTube, drop that request in the comments, not in the thread. The thread gets erased when the broadcast ends. If you're on my mailing list already, you can just put it in this thread and I'll be able to send it to you. Tech tip, if you're not on my mailing list, and that's especially if you're watching the video, and you put it in the thread, when I send it to you, it's coming as a PDF. Your security will block it as spam. Whereas if you send a request from your email, then what I will be doing is responding to your email and your security will let it go through. Don't just use that with me, use that with anybody. And understand that that's how the security works. We got to know how to use technology to get the best use out of it. Meanwhile, recognize that I'm Sporty King, and I wish you a happy Gift Friday and a safe weekend. Be safe and remember that God is for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you then. Over and out. Ciao.